Lamang. Officially, the Democratic Republic of Lamang is a country somewhere in Southeast Asia, spreading over an area of 430 square kilometers with a population of nearly 75k, where official language is Lao and English, and the president of Lamang is Narit Sewang. A former British colony, Lamang snatched its independence in 1948, but 20 years later, the peace was ravaged by a brutal civil war in which many people lost their lives and many families were forced to leave the country as refugees, and many more lost their livelihood. This civil war started because the remnants of the anti-British resistance known as Seoul, the Sons of Lamang, were dissatisfied with the independent government's rule. Since the official army was understaffed, untrained, and equipped with outdated weapons and gear, the war ended after only a couple of months of fighting and Seoul winning the war. The Seoul commander Raksmi Sewang then declared himself the supreme leader of the island with the title of president. Later, it came into light that Raksmi's victory was made possible due to the help and strong support of the Soviets, who supplied the Seoul their advanced weapons and gears in exchange for strengthening their position during the Vietnam War. Building various military installations all over Lamang, a small contingent of Soviet troops remained on the island even after the end of the conflict, and finally left after the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. 5 years later, Raksmi Sewang died in a car accident. Then his only son, the 28-year-old Narit Sewang, became the new leader of the island. Narit promised the people of Lamang that he will dump his late father's isolationism policies and conservative thinking and bring the island into the next millennium through modernization and openness. But in order to achieve this, there was no one to support him financially like his father got help during his time. Therefore, he claimed to focus on tourism instead and ordered the construction of his crowning jewel, the Midnight Sapphire, a luxurious resort where legend has it all was allowed for the right price. During the next 3 decades, those few who managed to escape the island told a vastly different story and pleaded with the rest of the world for help until finally the UN decided to act and established the UNLRA, United Nations Lamang Relief Agency, to provide at least a modicum of assistance to the oppressed people. With Narit's hesitant approval, UNLRA arrived in Lamang to assess the situation and begin its humanitarian mission. Then, a few months later, a disaster struck. With a blinding flash and thunderous roar, a part of the island was forever transformed by a sudden cataclysmic event. The event and UNLRA evacuation put the main story into motion. The mystery revolving around the event and not having too much information gave birth to baseless rumors. The official channels cryptically speak of an unspecified environmental disaster, while a plethora of far-fetched theories and uncovered truths scour the World Wide Web and beyond. A volcano erupting, a chemical factory exploding, a nuke going off, a satellite crashing, secret experiments gone terribly wrong, a meteorite impact, or always the popular aliens. What is certain is that all hell broke loose in Lamang after the event. Mass hysteria and panic ensued, and UNLRA mounted an evacuation mission to get as many as people off the island as possible. However, owing to the situation, chaos engulfing the entire region, clashes between UNLRA and LAF Lamang Armed Force occurred, and some were left behind to fend for themselves. All UNLRA personnel and a majority of survivors left the island within a week after the event, and the entire area has been put under international quarantine, with all the UN members agreeing not to trespass. Seeing that the island was practically abandoned, this piqued the interest and became center for many organized crime groups, pirates, and other lowlifes in Lamang. to plunder what was left or even claim the island entirely, engaging in skirmishes with Lamang armed forces who were ordered to stay behind and guard high-value targets. When the rumors spread more and more, thinking a lot of things on stake and to get everything under their possession laid the base for the arrival of first PMC. Shortly after that, two other PMCs arrived. After establishing a foothold in the region, they all started advancing towards what was now known as Ground Zero. A series of well-coordinated strikes far too professional for the bandits roaming the island or even the LAF was then launched against the PMCs, and they lost almost all their previously taken territory. Suffering heavy casualties and loss of equipment, the PMCs started recruiting new soldiers of fortune to help them retake the region, assume full control of Ground Zero, and complete any task from the myriad of clients with some stakes in the area. The player, a former member of Special Operation Forces, currently watching this video, is one of these new recruits.